An original plan from the 1990s placed an indoor and outdoor light boat ride featuring Winnie the Pooh theme at Disneyland. The plan was shelved by 1999, so a new dark ride was planned. Disneyland is the only one of the 6 Disney resorts to have little room for expansion. The solution to open this ride in the park was to replace an existing attraction with this new ride. Imagineer chose to replace the Country Bear Jamboree with Pooh due to its lack of popularity. A proposal for a new Country Bear racing attraction called the Critter Country 500, being rejected by management. As a tribute to Country Bear Jamboree, the heads of the Max Deer, Melvin the Moose, and Buff the Buffalo are mounted in the wall inside the ride. The budget for this attraction was reported at $30 million, most of it dedicated to reformatting the Country Bear Jamboree show building. When it finally opened in 2003, it received a large promotions by park management, and lines were somewhat long at first, but quickly dropped off. Disneyland was planning to have a media event scheduled for April 11th, 2003, but on April 2nd, the park announced it would be canceled. In November 2024, Critter Country was renamed Bayou Country. Let's celebrate with friends. Let's be together in terms of turmoil and trial. And let's make memories, because you never know what could happen if you don't. Welcome to Logan's Story, and today we talk about the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, this next historical worldview context of Disneyland rides. Thank you for coming. Let's get into it. Alright, so there seems to be a cross-net of things that happen in terms of this ride. A slow-moving dark ride going through the 100-acre wood features a lot of characters in terms of what they go through on a standard basis throughout the ride. And due to that, there seems to be something great about it. Something that we can all relate to in terms of what we can make in terms of memories. See, this ride isn't just for children. It's for adults too. It can be for adults. And even though it's a children's product, it doesn't mean we can take what's noticeable for adults. And with that, that seems to be the ride's overall intent. Make sure you see the intent that is to bring to the ride in terms of its innocence. We can go back to our innocence with this ride. It brings us back to when we were children. But here's the thing. Does the ride bring us back towards when we were children? Or does it add a sense of wisdom to us as adults? Well, with that, would there be anything else to concur the fact that we are in fact seeing this as adults, waiting for our children to see it later as adults? The children are the future, in fact. The children that are going to help us understand what we need to do to be a greater people, in fact. And even though this ride doesn't really suspend everything that has to do with the idea of being a child, or being a child of wonderment, or going back to when we were children, in fact, it can mean anything else to be in the sense of what we're working towards. Whether it's here, or here, there's a build-up of things that happen in terms of Winnie the Pooh, the ride, in fact. And it helps us realize what we can do to be carefree in our world that we live in today. But what are the little nooks and crannies? What can we take away in terms of something simple and detailed, in spite of the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh? Well, let's go into detail. Alright, so there's something great about this ride that you're missing, that a lot of people are missing. The childlike wonder of all the characters in terms of what they do in the 100-acre wood. Being able to process that and see it as you go along the ride. The memories, the friends, and sometimes the fears. What I mean by that is huffalumps and woozles. But that being as it is, there's something great about this. All entwined in one grain. All entwined in one story. See, the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh seems to hold a story of childhood. And even though we miss our childhood, there's something that we can make in spite of our childhood. What do you think that is? Memories! See, the thing is, when you go down to the line and see yourself in spite of what you used to be, the memories are all that it matters. Just like Winnie the Pooh said, or Christopher Robin, we didn't know we were making memories. We just knew we were having fun. And when you go on this ride, it's fun. Not just for children, but for adults too. And it's fun to go on the ride, to see the different things that happen in terms of the characters of the 100-acre wood. And that being as it may, there's something great about this ride in terms of its theming, in terms of its message, in terms of everything that it seems to be showing us in our careful world. When you should be carefree in some senses. Yes, we have to pay bills and taxes and such, but there's something great about being in a sense of childhood-like wonder. To be there sometimes means to have that very beautiful sense of, well, this is where I am, and this is what I have to do. Rather than a child who just goes on a whim and just has adventure and has the imagination to put it so. So, what am I trying to say with all this? What is the very, very important factor coming through when you're talking about something like the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh, or that of the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh? Well, Application, of course.
First the win, and now this.
So, when you have memories, when you're trying to have fun with your kids, when you're trying to bring back that childhood wonder that you had when you were a kid, yes, you have to pay for a pretty expensive vacation, but it comes at a cost for all people who want to be in a childlike wonder environment. It's not just for children, it's for adults too, to escape the world around you and become something of a very imaginative adult. Here's the thing. You are making memories. You may be having fun, taking pictures, all that stuff, but I think that Winnie the Pooh shows us is sometimes the mundane, sometimes the simple, sometimes the integrated madness that it comes with the world is enough to make memories. And you don't have to be at Disney World to do that. You don't have to be at Disneyland to do that. You can be in your own home, making memories through the scope of what you know. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure you have the memories to show that your kids later on one day. And make sure you show them that it doesn't take money to make memories. Thank you for the application. Let's continue forward. Thank you for following the story. Thank you for the historical Worldview context of Disneyland rides. There are more rides in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys know how we get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also, by hitting the bell. Leave a comment if you can too. Thank you again, and peace.